Story 1. A heat flows down there. My bean tingles, and bear with me now, I feel empty. It's hard to describe, but my lady bits physically feel empty, like it needs to be filled with something. It's like the feeling when you're really thirsty but have already drunk way more water than you should. It's worse when I'm ovulating and practically everyone looks acceptable to fill a void. Or sometimes I almost feel psycho because that emptiness causes such distraught because I want it filled so badly that I get mad at myself for being so frisky, so I rub one out and go to sleep. I also heard it's probably because lady bits usually expand when ladies get excited. And it's interesting because some men tell me that they feel the exact opposite of what I feel. They kind of feel like they need to put their things somewhere. If girls feel that way and guys feel the exact opposite, I guess that tells us how perfect human reproductive biology really is. Story 2. You know that feeling you get in your chest when you drink something warm on a cold day? I feel that, but in my pelvis. If I'm really, really frisky, it's much stronger than that. It's like everything from my belly button to my knees is melting. Or do you know that feeling when you get butterflies in your tummy? It's like butterflies in your lady bits. Sometimes I also get that slam of electricity in my nether regions, like being punched with pleasure that radiates out for a few seconds and makes me almost double over or wince when I'm really excited. I mean, I get the throbbing, the muscle aching for something deep inside me, and the pressure rubbing on my bean. But if I start thinking about my boyfriend and something really hot he does, sometimes it's like an explosion, and I'll let out a tiny sound or gasp just from thinking about him. Story 3. Am I the only girl here who doesn't like the itch analogy? I don't get the itch. That sounds gross. It just makes me think about sharp scratching, which is an unpleasant thought. To me, it's more like this achy, throbbing desire for pressure on the outside parts and the feeling of needing something in me to grip on. It needs to be fulfilled. It's also almost like a sensation that deepens with your heartbeat that pulsates from the mysterious within and makes your whole pelvis feel a yearn, not an itch. I also get an ache to be touched. When I'm extremely excited, I feel puffy, for lack of a better word, and the ache is almost painful. If I tense up, I get a tingle up my spine. I have this constant urge to move and grind, and suddenly my mind is filled with fantasies about the guy I'm flirting with. Damn it, now I'm frisky. Story 4. So I start off just getting a little bit flushed. I feel mildly hotter all over my body, and I start to get really aware of how soft my skin feels. I also became especially aware of the soft, plump roundness and weight of my chest. I get really sensitive. And the rubbing of the thighs thing. Only I squeeze my knees together or adjust the angle of my bum where I'm sitting, and every movement is felt. They propel everything further and further. A mild touch of my hand on my thigh might send me shivering. I often rub my thighs together if I'm in public to alleviate the need to move, but it pretty much ends up with me getting hotter. I can feel myself start to throb and my breathing starts to fluctuate, and the thoughts start coming. Every hot situation you've been in, all the guys you thought were cute, and all the fantasies you've been having lately. I often find myself thinking about a fantasy and having to abruptly stop, or I'll get really frantic with the need to have physical relations. Something that always happens is the need to be filled. I can't describe it, but I just feel empty and want something in me. Even if you take care of yourself, you can still feel the echoing throb, the clenching of your muscles wanting to pull something inside of you. Yeah, you also get really excited. Man, that was one heck of a description. I think I need to take a shower. Story 5. For me, it starts out in a way that I imagine is similar to guys. I start to get distracted. In the car alone or when watching TV, I find myself subconsciously getting restless in my seat or touching my neck. I meet mediocre-looking guys and immediately seek to confirm a vacant left ring finger. Then start scrounging for the best attributes and justifying why I feel like I'm holding back to keep from pressing my body against them. It clouds everything. Then once the engines are actually revved and you're getting down to business with someone who's halfway talented, the touches are amplified, and everything gets warm and relaxed, yet intense. I, personally, have a tendency to get needy and rush things. Guys, tip, don't rush that moment. Press your whole body against their body, chest to chest. Add a deep kiss, hold it for just another second, and then have fun. To add to that, it's like being hungry for something you've been looking forward to for days. You eat light for a couple days and fill up on veggies. Solo fun. It ties you over but isn't really satisfying. Then comes your reservation. You've been thinking about the possibilities for dinner all day. You get to the restaurant and are eager to...
There's no way of knowing if these are the only two instances that ever occurred in the history of
Any touch across the back of my neck or stomach will make me groan and shiver. I want to be touched, caressed, and more all over my body. The friskier I get, the more the tingle changes into an ache. It's the most frustrating, exciting, and hot feeling ever. Story 12. In high school, I had a terrible crush on my history teacher. I had a meeting with him at one point, and after spending 20 or so minutes staring into those massive blue orbs in his face and ogling his perfect figure, I was so frisky. I had one more class period left that day, and it was unbearable. All I could think about was how gorgeous and sexy he was. I was so excited, and I had this massive burning sensation. I could not concentrate on what my teacher was saying to save my life. Teenage infatuation and hormones. Story 13. It sucks because you can use toys or items to help it a little, but usually, at least in my case, it's a constant desire to just, get. It's like something just clicks when you're near someone attractive and all you can think about is them, but it's difficult to handle and it can be triggered by something as simple as the way your natural pheromones smell to me. Guys who smell like warm puppies smell good to me. If the nape of your neck is beautiful and you have long legs and a great behind, I will follow you for a block. You won't even notice me as you barrel ahead, deep in thought, checking your phone, flicking the hair out of your eyes, lips pursed. You, sir, are as beautiful as a wild gazelle to me at that point, and the lioness inside me wants to pounce on you right then and there. But you don't see me because I don't look like the type, and maybe you don't want me. But gentlemen, there are women who crave you every day. But we can't say anything because double standards mean our hormonal urges can wreck our careers. And that's kind of a creepy analogy. Story 14. For girls, I think it goes deeper. We want to be kissed and looked at with bedroom eyes. We want to be satisfied and taken care of in that way. And yeah, if it's possible, we'd like one peek too, please. But the idea and intimacy of physical relations is something we want in friskiness just as much as the actual being part. And don't get it twisted. I can have completely casual fun and still feel some kind of intimacy there, some kind of bond, even if it's just due to the fact that I really enjoy your thing particularly. Story 15. It's almost like a shock at first. Your lady parts get all warm and it's almost like you can feel your heartbeat between your legs. Your face gets flushed and the warmth gets more intense. You get all squirmy. You just want this desire to be filled. A little bit like when you have to take a whiz really bad and you know the bathroom is right down the hall. Eventually, it's all you can think about. And you just want a dude, or lady if that's your thing, to get down in there. It's a pretty great feeling and unlike a chubby, it's pretty hard for people to tell when you're excited. Story 16. 90% of me being frisky is me being frisky, but I'm trying to calculate if he's also frisky. Like, is he too tired? Should I just go to sleep and see if he instigates in the morning? I have the feeling that being frisky is exactly the same for me as it is for you, except that I was raised to never step on toes or to inconvenience anyone. I'm worried that if I'm frisky and he's not, I'm going to offend him, annoy him, or seem silly. Here's a question. Do you guys just ever have those slow simmer days where you wake up and, I don't know, perhaps early in the night you dreamed about it and then, hey there, Foxy. It seems like it's on the forefront of your mind and, oh my god, throw me down and take me now. It is really hard to focus and, god damn it, why can't I focus? You just hope your significant other is in the same state. And you spend all day wanting to have fun, but you don't know how to go about making someone else want it as much as you do. And so then you're like, damn, I don't know how to express my urge. Oh, and you're familiar with insecurity, right? I can't tell when my boyfriend's telling me he doesn't like something or that he doesn't care about another thing because I'm bad at it, or if he really doesn't care or doesn't like it because he's sincere or because it's something I'm bad at or seem insecure about. When I finally get him there, I want to make him feel as incredible as he makes me feel, but it's hard to explain that while I'm giving him a sloppy. It's like, when I really want to say, if you keep groaning like that, I may just go biblical and drown the whole world in my lady juice. But at the same time, I'm also insecure and so frisky anyway, and goddamn it, it's just so confusing. Actually, I'm painting it in a bad light. I think I'm just frisky. I should call him. Story 17. Sometimes it starts with a warmth and furling in your belly, which blooms and spreads between my thighs, accompanied by a throbbing in my bean. I can feel my pulse between my legs, thumping and throbbing. Then there are tingles that feel like they start inside my opening and radiate out. It becomes maddening, and the blossoms of warmth, almost the same as butterflies or the feeling you get of anticipation or nerves, will roll over and over inside me like a precursor to that frenzy I'm so desperate for at that point. Inevitably, I'll be more aware of the rest of my body. If I'm walking, there might be an exaggerated sway to my hips, or if I'm sitting, I will squirm like the sexy ladies I mentioned, or run my fingers over an exposed skin because it will all become hypersensitive. My heartbeat gets irregular. My lady bits feel like they're empty and in desperate need of filling, and eventually, the tingling radiates to my extremities if I let it go long enough. Also, my sense of smell heightens. Why does this description remind me of something I watched on TV about people having seizures? Is it the same? Story 18. It's kind of miserable, to be honest. Like many others have said, the physical sensation varies. Usually it'll start as a warming sensation either in the pit of my stomach or between my legs, but then the mental side starts to get involved, and hormones start flowing and I feel itchy and desperate. It's like being absolutely starving, having not eaten in a day, and standing in the middle of a buffet. There's a need for extreme action and extreme behavior, and anyone who denies that pleasure is at risk of being run over. I'll get grouchy, irritable, and irrational. At that point, it's uncomfortable. And only a cold shower will work unless I'm having some fun, and even then, the physical relations won't be satisfying. It'll barely take the edge off, so then I can actually be really satisfied, but at that point, it's usually done, and I'm left frustrated. If I manage to peak solo or with a partner before I'm frisky for too long, it's okay. But otherwise, it's a problem. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you made it this far, I'm sure you'll also enjoy. Girls, what's the female equivalent of trying to hide a... Story 6 is just crazy. See you in that video.